Well, hello everyone, and you join us for day 2 of Watches and Wonders. We had a good time yesterday for day 1, saw some great brands, and we've done it all again because there are just so many watch brands at Watches and Wonders. And we're going to give you a little list of those brands that we saw and some things that we thought. Tom, initial impressions from day 2. You flagging?
Yeah, another long one. It'll be fun to remember what we saw as we go through. You're going to have to remind me.
It was very much a whistle-stop tour of quite a lot of brands and a hell of a lot of watches, and they all start to feel a little bit similar towards the end, but there were some real standout mentions that we will get to.
Yeah.
But we'll start off with IWC, and their whole thing this year was the big pilots. They brought in some ceramic pieces and a ceratanium piece to celebrate Top Gun. What were your initial thoughts?
Yeah, really neat selection. IWC, they wouldn't be my go-to brand if I was looking for a watch. Their pieces are all a bit large for me, but there was something about this selection that I was like, this is more like it. Personally speaking, nice selection of colours, nice green, bright white, and deserty mauve. Kind of tan colour,
yeah, and
glaring blue emission, but they had that ceratanium one, which almost was a grey ceramic titanium, but it almost had a kind of cold blueness about it, which was really cool. Probably my favourite of the bunch.
You didn't leave empty-handed entirely then, as a fan of blue. But yeah, they were supposedly inspired by a number of the training areas that Fastjet's pilots operate in. Harvey Desert,
yep,
the Green Woodlands, and snowy Lake Tahoe. And quite a mixed opinion that I can tell so far. Like, they look great. The colour matching they've done, they've gone to an enormous amount of effort to make sure that all the colours of the ceramic and the dial and the straps all have exactly the same shade and the same finish as well. And the result is quite striking in person.
Yeah. In collaboration with Pantone as well.
Yeah.
Trendy.
So, the creative side of us quite likes that that orderly nature of things. And IWC very much are all about that. But as well, the experience of those watches is very different to what you'd expect of a typically luxury watch. They feel more, they would probably say, playful.
Yeah.
But they almost feel toy-like. And I wouldn't necessarily say in a bad way, because they feel very high quality, but the look, and I think that's where some of the division can come from.
Yeah, I think that's true of all these new colours that we're starting to see. They all start to feel a bit more playful, a bit more toy-like.
Yeah. But the booth, that was a thing.
They love a shipping container, don't they, IWC?
I think they had about 8 of them.
So tall, this big towering stack of shipping containers.
Yeah, it was so tall they had to take the ceiling out of the expo hall so it could reach all the way up. A very striking setup. Supposedly inspired to bring in an industrial feel to the IWC brand, to move away from planes and boats and whatnot, and to have a unified feel. It certainly felt industrial. Nice setup, actually. One of the better displays for experiential touch and feel, to see the process of making ceratanium and coming to the right colours for the ceramic. It was nice to see through the eyes of the development team on those watches.
Yeah, really cool.
From a massive brand to a very, very small one, and one of our favourites, Recent.
Yeah, good to see those guys.
The Type 8 is their new release. Just hours and minutes, very simple. Blue dial.
Yeah, so they had all their pieces there, but yeah, their new release for this year was a very stripped back and simplified, just hours and minutes. And I tried it on, and it was really cool, really comfortable, and it looked good for like a larger watch.
Yeah.
Because it's got that really nice curved pebble shape. It just sort of just sticks to your wrist and just looks like it looks tailored. That's the kind of feel it is, and it was really cool. Yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah, because it's very skinny, the titanium case. I think they said 48 grams or something, but it's very light. The titanium case tapers at the edges and then just bubbles up ever so slightly. So, like you say, although it's big, it really just feels like a slight swelling.
Yeah.
But I was very surprised to see the removal of a lot of the complication of the previous ones actually made it celebrate how it works even better. And I thought it looked even better than previous iterations with that satellite complication.
Clean and tidy.
Yeah, so very well done to them. You don't normally try watches on because you're handling the camera gear and
Yeah.
you're curmudgeonly.
I've just got to get them in front of the camera and let's move on.
Quick, I want more of that tiramisu. But yeah, that was one you fancied trying on, and it did look good on you, actually.
Yeah, it was cool, yeah.
12,000 Swiss francs, I think, somewhere around there. So one of the cheaper options too. So
I'll get there one day.
Save your pennies. Next, we popped into Oris. What did you make of their very, very reserved booth display?
Yeah. Reserved by meaning Willy Wonka on crack.
It was quite special, actually. A huge, almost like Rube Goldberg machine, the size of a couple of cars.
Yeah. All ORIS, spelling out Oris, all mechanical clicking and whirring and clanking away, and all these kind of mechanical nuts and bolts spinning around. It was really cool.
Yeah, really to celebrate the introduction of the ProPilot X Caliber 400 with the in-house caliber, a 39mm watch that moves on from the previous ProPilot that we've seen. Very angular, kind of has that feel of that 70s watch that we've not seen too much of before.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But it was very different, very angular, brushed, nice pastel colours on the dial. A really nice peach colour I saw.
Yeah. Salmony. I think there was a blue and there was a grey, which was really cool. Like nice and subtle, and it felt like a really nice sort of tight, sort of compact, cool watch.
They talked a bit about sustainability as well with some of their upcoming pieces, which we can't show you just now. But good to see them working with different charities to help put some of the money that goes into the luxury watch industry back into the planet.
Yeah, I like Oris. I like where they're coming from. I like their messaging, and I think it's definitely going to be a port of call for me when I start looking for a luxury piece. And I think I'd like to talk about them more in the future. Maybe when we talk about affordable brands and stuff, because I think they're really cool.
Maybe when they finally release that pile of embargoed watches they showed us.
Yeah, I think they're coming out in the summer, so we can talk about them then.
Yeah, I don't think they completed their homework in time for Watches and Wonders. This was a strange one, Arminstrom. Now, I'm a big fan of Arminstrom.
I didn't know who they were. I thought you meant Arm & Hammer, the toothpaste people.
Equally as fresh, but not quite as minty.
Yeah, crisp.
They, great story from them. Because they do a lot of their own movement manufacture, well, all of their own movement manufacture, and they do it for other brands as well. And they're very, very small and very, very young, and that's normally, you can't do that. Turns out that they managed to get hold of a lot of their CNC equipment during the crash when the manufacturers who'd made it and had a load of cancelled orders needed to shift it, and they bought it on the cheap.
Yeah.
Put in a cheeky bid on eBay on an 8-way Axis machine, and now they have full capabilities. So they pushed that to the max with the Orbit, which looked at first glance, we were confused that they were celebrating this, a pointer date complication. So where the date runs around the outside and a hand points at it, and you're like, okay, big whoop. Turns out it's a retrograde complication, so it goes from 1 to 31 and then all the way back to 1. And you think, oh, why is that? And that's because they have an additional feature where you can press the button.
A column date.
Yeah, you press the button, and if it's on the date, it goes back to 12, and so it stays straight and keeps out of the way of the subdial with the hours and minutes. And if you press it again, it snaps back to where the date is, so you can have the date or hide it. There's no real use for it.
No.
But as a piece of watchmaking engineering, problem solving, it's really fantastic.
Yeah, essentially a big retrograde where the retrograde would usually be maybe 60 degrees or something. This was 290 degrees, so it whipped right round and whipped all the way back. It was really satisfying. I played around with it for a little bit.
Date goes up, date goes down.
Exactly, yeah.
And they were explaining that they had to introduce the retrograde function for the date, but then also a chronograph function to activate it, to have it showing or hidden. Just really the ability for them to muck about with all of that cool equipment. It's certainly what I'd do if I was a watchmaker with all of that equipment. So nice to see that.
Yeah, another awesome brand that needs more attention. And there were loads of them in the little kind of indie corner of Watches and Wonders.
Yeah, there's definitely the before they were cool corner, isn't it?
Yeah.
We'll hate them once they get big. Piaget next. So we're a big fan of Piaget. We love the Altiplano Ultimate Concept.
Thin boys, I call them.
Very thin boys. Not the thinnest boys anymore. Bulgari did knock them off that top spot, however, and I did ask them about that.
You shouldn't have brought that up.
Let's say they were passionate, and I admire that. But
you got Will Smithed.
I got yeeted out of the store. No, I didn't. They were explaining how the techniques that Bulgari used to achieve what they did really reached their their philosophy for Altiplano. But in doing so, they did reveal that they are going for a complication record under the Altiplano Ultimate Concept platform. So that might be a first that you're hearing, and it was revealed in anger. So if in doubt, poke the bear.
Yeah. Also, we got to see some real shinies.
Oh, sparkle. Whew. Yeah.
Dazzling.
If you like diamonds, you'll like Piaget, obviously. And a nice Piaget Polo Date Black. You'll probably say it looks like a load of other watches, but it's a lot cheaper. Very nice quality. Looks really smart.
Yeah. Simple and clean.
Yeah. If you're someone who is not so into the watch game that it really upsets you that it's not a particular brand or it feels very similar, it's inspired by watches that were made in the era by Piaget. Looks really nice. Undercuts the competition.
Yeah.
Can't say fairer than that.
Good on them.
Well, next, probably my favourite visit of the day, and probably the reason why we've blasted through the others, is to talk about Lange Sohne.
Yeah.
We had a presentation from Anthony de Haas, who is their head product designer development guy.
That was good.
And he's a proper character.
He's great, yeah. When he saw you, he pointed and then he ducked down under the counter and put his hands back up to do a little Watchfinder puppet show impersonation.
Yeah, I was equally horrified and very happy at the same time.
Yeah, I was delighted.
Yeah, you always take pleasure in my suffering, so I'm glad you enjoyed that.
It's funny when people's ears prick up when they hear your voice. Like, hey, you're that anorak off YouTube.
I've managed to hide for a long time, but this is the first time we've been allowed out in public, and probably the last. But 3 great pieces. People are saying, oh, they didn't do much, but I don't expect them to. They're small, they evolve, they chase perfection, and they really have done that.
Yeah.
Lange 1, a little bit thinner. I think it was 1.6 millimeters thinner. But really chasing, it's like a Formula 1 team chasing that last little bit of performance.
Yeah. It's just such a clean watch. Like that watch face is just pure class. You know, it just, I don't know, it just does so much with so little. It's just really cool.
Yeah, it really does. So bringing the crystal closer, shrinking the bezel, moving the hands closer to the dial, and they eke out a little bit more space, and yeah,
little beveled edges around those subdials on the.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, to give the impression of the depth that's been taken away, like the level of detail that Anthony was talking about and consideration, you don't hear from any other brand. We haven't heard that from any other brand.
No, they're sweating over the minutiae of it, and it's really cool to see.
Yeah, and that then the next big surprise was the Odysseus Titanium. Again, it's the same thing but in a different metal, but it's definitely not that. Different engravings in the dial for a slightly different feel. A beautiful steely grey colour to the dial, but the case, okay, titanium, we've seen it before, but you've not seen it like this. The sapphire, it was corundum, which I guess is sapphire blasted case, to give that really silky finish that just looks so fine, and then between that, hand polished links, chamfers on the links that look like molten metal. Yeah,
so they're blasting and polishing titanium, which are both two very difficult things to do. So, but they overcome that with, instead of sandblasting, corundum blasting, and then the polishing. I can't remember how they did that, but yeah, really cool. Like, they just keep going this extra mile, and it's sort of what we keep seeing with the watchmaking, isn't it? Hitting these hurdles and then but going, well, we want to do it, so let's figure it out.
I think it was a limited edition of 250 pieces. Anthony was saying the salespeople wanted 500, but the finishing of the case and bracelet took so long.
Yeah.
That the watchmakers were saying, no, 250, or we're leaving. But really great to see. And to be quite frank, one of the most down-to-earth, engaging, personable presentations that we've had that didn't feel just like marketing people talking to you in a marketing way. It was someone who lives and breathes the brand and the product, explaining it to you in a way that is completely free of fluff.
Yeah.
And that's what we love.
Yeah.
Very, very typically.
This
German.
does this, and this is why we did it.
Yeah, and you can see it's great. Oh, the other thing about it, quite a few of the brands, I fully understand it. They hand you the watch very carefully, and you wear gloves, and it all feels very much like holding someone else's baby. Anthony was saying, like, oh, don't be shy. Pick up the watches, play with them, hold them, wear them, try them.
Have fun.
Yeah, have fun.
Yeah, these are things to play with.
Yeah, and it speaks to the not just the quality and the beauty of the product, but the robustness as well. Then we had a rather interesting experience at Ulysse Nardin.
Yeah. Did you space out? I was taking it all in, I think.
The theme was very space-based, wasn't it? Earth, moon, and sun.
It was a trilogy of verticality, I think, was the title for these pieces.
The feeling I had, I don't know if you've ever watched a movie when you're really, really tired. And you're not quite following what's going on, and you get to the end and you feel like you know less than you did when you started. Because I don't know if you have seen Ulysse Nardin watches previously, but they all have a level of ingenuity and complication that verges into the realms of bonkers.
Yeah, very bonkers. So as our old friend, the Blast Moonstruck, he's got two new confusing buddies with him now.
Yeah, three different ways to not be able to tell the time for a bit, but really appreciate the mechanism taken in doing it. There
was a new Freak, which looked really cool, and then there was another one, I can't remember what it was called.
The Sun something.
Yeah, but it just looked like a spaceship.
It did, yeah.
Gyrocopter from the future. Really, really cool.
It was a sort of a twin balance straddling what looked like a spaceship on the dial.
Yeah, awesome.
And you just look at it and your brain just reboots.
Yeah. The movement is the time, but it's mental. Welcome to Ulysse Nardin.
That's one I think we're going to have to pick apart a little bit more and come back to be honest. And then the Tudor. Now, did you enjoy the Tudor video presentation?
Again, I think because it was quite late in the day, I maybe was a little bit delirious, and it gave me the giggles because it was so funny. I don't know if it's out there, but it was just a guy just saying things for ages.
What were some of the things that he said? Do you remember?
Go left, go right, go diving, go to space, T-Rex, hug your friend, tell them you love them, take them from behind, see you later, go down again, space, Mars, Stegosaurus.
I'll leave it to you, dear viewer and listener, to figure out which of those was in it and which
Born to Dare
weren't. Most of them were in it. It was a very surreal audiovisual experience with a triple screen that they made you stand right in front of. They made you do exactly the thing that my mum told me not to do as a kid, and then blasted it at you.
Andrew, what have I told you about standing in front of 3 massive televisions really close?
Mum, I'm watching Tudor. But the actual product, very bizarre video aside, really good.
Yeah, awesome. And the guys there displaying the pieces were really cool, really helpful, and it was really enjoyable experience actually.
Yeah, so we saw the Black Bay Chrono and a new root beer Black Bay GMT, both in steel and gold.
I love that coloration. I mean, people say root beer. I don't know what that is. I don't think I've ever seen one. But yeah,
Weren't we in the shop the other day? We were in the shop the other day or something like that, and there was root beer available, and you said, what's root beer? So I think it's just generally something that's missing from your life.
Right, yeah.
But the hero of the collection, and I probably think the affordable hero of the show, the Black Bay Pro, which is a GMT watch that looks very, very similar to the Explorer 2, the old Rolex Explorer 2. One that Steve McQueen wore at one point, I think. But
sure,
39 millimeters steel bezel with the 24-hour markers on it, GMT hand, ceramic, lume-infused ceramic markers. So no surround, so you get that real vintage look, but with like a modern take on it.
Yeah.
It's going to sell like hot buttery cakes.
Yeah. Little ceramic ball bearings in the clasp as well, so it never loosens.
Oh, I remember you were talking to the lady about that. That was, you were going, that really impressed you, didn't it?
I love it.
But it's a nice attention to detail, and I mean, we were so welcome at the Tudor stand,
Yep.
which is new for us, and we really enjoyed the hospitality and being able to talk to them about the product and the product itself. It feels like the mentality at Tudor is more about listening to the customer,
Sure.
making small changes. Because I saw on, I think it might have been the Black Bay Pro, they have updated the crown to be a bit more like a Rolex crown. Because I know one of the complaints on the Black Bay 58 is that the crown is a bit like the knurls
Too
are
many
too small.
bevels and but it was nice and chunky, and you just gripped it and it's whoosh,
So
off it comes.
if they update the Black Bay 58, I think that's because they were movement-free press examples. But
It didn't ping across the room or anything, but it turned off really easily. Really cool.
You did make your uh-oh noise.
Yeah.
But if the Black Bay 58 is updated with that crown, I might find myself swapping it out.
Yeah, you kept asking them, but they kept dodging professionally
Yeah.
your question. But hopefully,
Because, Black Bay Pro, that means they can do a Black Bay 58 GMT.
yeah,
Same thing, just with a bezel.
cool.
Ask them about that. Oh, we don't know. Ask them about the Black Bay 58 chronograph. Oh, we don't know. So assume those are coming out.
Yeah, and sorry Zenith, Tudor has you beat on the best lighting as well, because they had a walk-in softbox for you to take photos, which was awesome.
Oh, that was great. I didn't know if we were going to take pictures or be teleported into space. One thing we didn't talk about yesterday, and I'd like to bring up just as we wrap up, Rolex. I've spoken to a few people about Rolex, and that is the same noise I keep hearing.
No, go on.
Air King, now with Lume in the 3, 6 and 9,
Oh yeah.
now with crown guards.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the ultimate form of new hattery that we have seen so far? Is this new feather in the same hat? Is it that macro?
Yeah, I mean it's fine. Like, yeah. I mean, I could probably go on a rant on announcements and how maybe brands are probably pressured into doing too much new stuff, and maybe they just don't have the resources. It's probably not true of Rolex, but give them a break. You got new crown guards, all right?
They spent all their money on their enormous stand and the army of fembots they've got guarding it. And really, I just want to talk about that so we can put the Rolex on the thumbnail so more people watch the video.
Oh, right. Nice one. Job done.
Perfect, yeah. Well, we've got day 3 tomorrow, probably in a few hours by the time we finish this.
Whoopee.
So hope you enjoy this. Do pop down if there's anything that you would like us to go and see on our last day, which is tomorrow.
Yep.
And we'll speak to you all again tomorrow. Bye.
See ya.